Hello, everybody. Here's part two on the family member. This time I'm doing my grandmother, Grammy. This is my grandmother. I love her very much.
I love you too, darling.
Okay, right now, what is your name in relation to me?
My name is Sandra Franklin, and I am your grandmother.
I call her Grammy because I don't know when I started calling her that, but when I call her that, it just stuck to me, and I just kept calling her that ever since.
Forever.
Mostly till the day I die. Okay, number two. When and where were you born?
Okay. I was born in on October 28th, 1953,
Ooh,
and that was in Memphis, Tennessee.
wow. Both of my grandparents, my mom and my grandma were both born in Memphis, like me
Right.
and my brother. Okay, number three. What is your first childhood memory? Well, that you can remember for so far.
Childhood memory.
It can be your teen years too, just as far as you can remember.
Oh, I have a lot of childhood memories. You want something good?
Just choose anyone. I don't care which one. Just choose
Oh,
one.
there are a lot of. Okay. Well, I got memories of me and my cousin, who was a couple of months older than me. He was born in August and I in October. And we were kind of like siblings because we were, the same age. And I have fond memories of when he used to have a paper route. And it was the evening paper in Memphis. It was called the Memphis Pressimeter, and I used to go out on the bike with him and help him. First, before we left, we'd fold all the papers. He showed me how to fold them so that they'd all fit in the bag that the newspaper come in, and you put them in the bag and drape the bag over the bike. And I would sit on the handlebars, and I'd go with him to throw the paper.
Hmm. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So number four, was school like for you back then?
Well, sometimes I liked school and sometimes I didn't. Um, School itself, the learning part was fairly easy, but I guess I had more problems with the social aspects of school, like, you know,
Bullies or some stuff?
interaction with other kids. Yeah, there have always been bullies, and then there are people who just don't like you because they just don't, and then a lot of other things that go on in school that have to do with personalities and I guess politics too. You know, so sometimes I like school and sometimes I didn't, but for the most part it was okay.
Okay. Number five, how did you meet your spouse?
How did I meet him?
Mm-hmm.
I was shopping for a birthday present for my grandmother, and he had just moved to Memphis from California, and he was in the
Ooh.
store shopping too. And he got in line behind me, and he didn't say anything, but when I walked out the store, uh, he approached me and started telling me that he was recently in town and what do you do? It was a Saturday and I was at shop on Saturday in Memphis, that kind of thing. That's how he started that conversation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's how we met.
Yeah, one of my teachers is from California.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but describe your first job.
My first job was as bookkeeping clerk um, for First Tennessee Bank. I went to work for them back 1973. Um, and I made 300 and some dollars, $350 a month.
So you worked at a bank?
I worked as a bookkeeping clerk.
Bookkeeping.
I filed checks and I answered
Oh,
phones. And I, back then, everybody wrote checks.
yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
I took care of insufficient fund checks and stuff. I
So,
worked for the bank
so you sort of work for the bank and as a bookkeeping clerk.
for the bank, First Tennessee Bank.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I
Yep.
I never knew that about you.
Yeah, that was my first job.
All right. Now, just where was your first house exactly? Well, not exactly the point, but just where was
What do you mean? The first house that I owned
that
or
you lived in
that I lived in?
or owned? It depends on which one you want to talk about. The one that you bought is that the one that you lived in by that you bought, or the ones that you lived in. It depends on which one that that you want to do.
Well, you weren't born when I bought the first house.
Yeah, sounds about right. Was mom alive back by then?
Yeah, she had just had the Bree, and I was, I guess, living in a high rise, and I decided I wanted to buy a house, so I did. I bought a little house in East Memphis, and it was my first house. It was on a dead end cove on a hill, and it was very nice. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath, and it was on a 3rd acre lot.
Okay. Okay, so eighth question. What other house did you live in?
The last house I lived in was the house you lived in
Oh, the one that I lived the
on
one
Ravencrest in Bartlett, the big house.
Oh yeah, the one that you built that you asked people to build.
Right, we actually built the house.
And we were the first ones to live in it. Wow,
Right.
I love that house. Especially me like rolling down the stairs and like jumping on them. Those are like the stairs were one of my favorite parts. I was
Yeah.
always playing with those stairs.
Yeah, I know
I
it was a
was
source of fear for us when you first started going downstairs. Afraid you might fall. You fell a couple of times, but
I always got back up.
yeah, you did.
I was ruthless. Okay, number 9. Can you tell me a story or a memory about your brothers and sisters?
I have 5 brothers, and I had 2 sisters. My oldest sister, she passed away some years ago. Um,
I miss her.
we lived in a house with our grandparents and my mom, and there were a lot of us. I had a bunch of cousins, and the house was always full of us and kids from the neighborhood and our cousins, and I don't know how we all fitted in there, but we did. It was a bang of us, and it was happy days, happy times.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Have you enjoyed your life so far? Do you have
So
any
far,
regrets?
I have a few, but who doesn't?
That makes sense. I have a few regrets myself that I wish to take back, but sad thing that you
You
just gotta
can't go back.
you
You just
can't go
have
back
to make the best of every day going forward.
and
And
wear them proudly around your neck.
it's been so far. It's been a good life. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Would you want to change anything about your life?
Not at this juncture. Everything's everything.
All right, last question. Those are just some other questions I decided to ask. But the last question: what advice would you give to a child or a grandchild?
Regarding what?
Any advice that you think that's necessary?
Okay. Well, I tell you first to be true to yourself. Always be honest, always be direct, and stand up for what you believe. Always be true to you. Be you, regardless of whatever else and who else and what's going on. Always be you.
Hmm. Okay, Gary, thank you for your time. I hope. Um. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I did not knew a lot about you, and so this would have actually taught me a lot about you guys,
Well, okay. Well,
about your past and stuff, or what you used to do.
anytime I'm available to share this with you. Some of the stuff you need to know. And it's been my pleasure. I hope I've helped you with your schoolwork.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't also forget. I also have a new story thing. I'm gonna one day I might publish. Yeah, so yeah, it's called The Curse of the Red Skull, the first story. But I recently finished the second chapter of it, the second book of it. Well, not it's not like a book. It's like a story, like a short story. But if you don't want to see that, it will be pretty cool. So I hope
Okay.
you have a nice day,
All
buddy.
right.
Bye bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Gummy.